Hello and welcome to the Ultimate Freight Podcast. This is Joe Gianosa here with Ultimate Logistics Inc., here to guide you through these choppy freight waters. Welcome to 4th of July shipping week. Things are about to get a little bit crazy, but don't worry, I'm here to guide you through it. Make sure, if at all possible, if you can hold off on shipping anything this week, if that's possible, go ahead and do it and ship it out next week. Next week, Monday is considered a holiday. That's when we're observing 4th of July. So we're going to start back up on Tuesday. But if you can hold anything, I would do it and ship it next week. If it absolutely has to ship this week, see if it can ship early this week instead of later on into the week. The later on we get into the week, the closer we get to 4th of July weekend, the less and less drivers there are available. These guys want to get home and celebrate the 4th of July, and a lot of them don't need to have a load to get. They've been getting paid pretty well this summer. They don't really need a load to hold over 4th of July weekend, so a lot of them will just be turning off their trucks and enjoying the holidays with their families. So if at all possible, if you have to ship this week, I would try and ship early on in the week. And if you're shipping something coast to coast and it has to ship out this week and deliver next week, I would ship it out on Friday. There is shipping capacity issues still in the ports of Long Beach and Los Angeles because of all the pent-up demand for products. There's still a lot of boats waiting to get unloaded, and a lot of them have rerouted to the Oakland port, and now that's all jammed up. So the port congestion is actually affecting trucks because people are using trucks to go grab the stuff from the ports rather than putting it on rail like they would normally do, so they're competing with you shipping product, and that's just driving the rates up higher and higher, and that's only going to be exacerbated through this 4th of July shipping week. So just make sure you're aware of that. And Los Angeles, Oakland, that's making the rates go up. Savannah, Georgia, that's making those rates go up in that area, Atlanta area. And then you already have capacity issues in the Midwest and other parts of the country. So that's what I got for you on the shipping market. All right, let's talk about capacity for full truckloads. Most of the time, my customers are shipping refrigerated product, whether that's chilled or frozen. A lot of times it's meat. We do juice and other things like that too. But for a reefer truck, right now, used to be, it was very common to see a 48-foot truck. Those are not as common anymore. Now you'll see 53-foot reefers all the time. That's the standard, so that's what I'm going to be using for the dimensions. So a lot of people want to know how many pallets can you fit on a truck and how much weight can you fit on a truck. So there's a couple of things to realize. So the first thing is a pallet, a standard pallet, is 48 inches long and 40 inches wide. So when you're looking at a pallet, you can say, okay, 48 inches long, that's 4 feet. And if a trailer is 53 feet long, the interior that it can hold is like 52 and a half feet basically. So 13 times 4 is 52, and so you can fit 13 pallets in lengthwise. So the width of each pallet is 40 inches wide, so that means you can fit 2 pallets side by side together. So 13 long, 2 wide, that's 26 pallets you can fit in there standard. Drivers go through scales, and the maximum weight everything can be is 80,000 pounds. Okay, so if they're loaded, they're ready to go, they go through a scale and they weigh them at a weigh station. If they're anything over 80,000 pounds, they're not legally allowed to keep going. That means they'd have to go back to the shipper to unload some product to make sure they're under 80,000 pounds of gross weight. So that's the legality of it. If you look at equipment for reefer trucks and how much everything weighs, basically it comes down to your product, total product that's loaded on the truck, needs to be under 42,000 pounds. And that's total product weight. So all of your regular product that's on there, you take your amount of cases times the weight, that's your the weight of the product. But then you also have to take into account the pallet weight. Well, each pallet can weigh anywhere, there's all different kinds of pallets out there. Each pallet can weigh anywhere between 35 and 50 pounds. So if you take 50 pounds times 26 pallets, that's 1,300 pounds just in pallets. So you want to make sure your product weight is right under 42,000 pounds. Anything over 40,000 pounds, you're really pushing it. But you want to make sure and stay right. You want to stay at 40,000. There should be some alarm bells going off. Can you get away with 41, 42,000? Yeah, but I wouldn't risk it. Some product, if you freeze it, it becomes a lot heavier. So it just depends on the product that you have, but I wouldn't push it more than 40,000 pounds. But technically you can load about 42,000 pounds onto a trailer. Now, you want to make sure whoever is loading your product understands how to balance out the trailer. There are axles, there's 3 axles on a truck, on a 53-foot reefer, we'll use as an example. So the first axle is where the tractor is, the power only or the tractor. That's where the driver sits, and it's the wheels that he's actually steering with. And you can have up to 12,000 pounds weight on that front axle. Then you get to the trailer, and there's double axles that's actually holding the cargo weight. And there's 2 sets of tandem axles. Each tandem axle can hold 34,000 pounds of weight. So if you have a shipper that loads your trailer that you contracted in the nose at 36,000 pounds, and then the tail is at 32,000 pounds, well then that truck is not legal. Now there's a couple of things that the drivers can do. There's little setting pins basically that hold the tandem axles and the trailer together in a certain position. So if the driver is a little bit overweight on the nose, what they can do is they can move the pin, take the pins out, and move the cargo up a little bit on the axles. They can do that only so much, and maybe that balances it out and gets the actual weight on that axle a little bit less. But if that doesn't work, then what they have to do is go back to the shipper. And then the shipper has to rearrange everything according to being legal. So basically what the DOT is saying is you have to be balanced. You have to have a balanced trailer in order to be legal to drive. So they'll have to go back to the shipper, get unloaded, and then they redo everything. Maybe the pallets are different weights and everything else. The shippers should know exactly what's going on and how to load the driver. So the driver will have to go back to the shipper. They're going to charge for that. They're going to charge for detention time, having to wait to get reloaded. Who knows what's going on at the shipper, how much time they actually have. It screws up everything. So make sure the shippers know what they're doing and they're loading the truck in a balanced way. That way you don't have any problems. A lot of this refrigerated product is time sensitive, and it takes a whole half a day to rearrange your product like that. So a lot of people don't realize that. They just look at the pallet count and the weight and it's good to go. But if you have different products that are shipping and some pallets heavier than others, make sure all the heavy pallets aren't on one side of the trailer. So with the height of the pallets, you want to make sure and stay under 8 feet. That's a good rule of thumb. Each trailer is about 101 inches tall, and 8 feet is at 96 inches. And you want that little bit of room. There's different reefer trailers out there. A lot of them have a reefer unit on the front and of the front of the trailer, and then there's an attachment that goes inside of the actual trailer itself, right on the nose. And then there are air chutes that are attached to that come down the side of the trailer, and basically it shoots cold air to the back of the trailer as well. So these air chutes will go through the trailer on the top and shoot that cold air to the back. Therefore, it cycles through all the cold air through the reefer trailer. Dry trailers can fit a little bit more weight. They can fit 44 to 45,000 pounds, and that's because they don't have a reefer unit that's attached to that refrigerated truck. All the insulation, everything else, and the extra fuel pump. I mean, a gallon of diesel fuel weighs 7 pounds, and a lot of these guys are carrying 120 to 150 gallons at one time. So you can see how that can get heavy. Count against that 80,000 pounds. There's just a lot less on them because they don't have to keep anything cool. So there's no reefer unit, and that can definitely add weight, especially when it comes to the separate fuel tank that you need to keep that refrigerated unit going. Now also the height, you don't have to really worry about the height. You can stack it from the floor all the way up. Some shippers try and go, use up all 100 inches, and that's fine when it's a dry trailer. But you want to make sure if you're shipping reefer, keep that pallet height below 8 feet. We don't really see that too often, but we've definitely seen that from time to time. Just make sure everything you're putting on the truck is less than 42,000 pounds, and that includes your pallets and everything else. You want to stay within that range between 40 and 42,000 pounds to play it safe. That's what I got for you today. Have a great 4th of July, and we will see you next week. Thanks.